Hello everybody. Wanted to give a little bit of an update and kind of go back to the basics. I talked to a few people today and they were really interested in the systems, on how they work and everything. So I thought I would kind of back to the basics on how this system works. Sump tank is a key component. This is the sump tank here. What it does is it allows the water to drain back to it and to be pumped out of it up to the fish tank. After the pump does its work, everything else is gravity fed. So I've got two pumps only because of how many grow beds I've got here in this system. But on a smaller system, you can do one pump only. And so how it works is that the water comes back to here. A little dark, but you can see some of them draining, some of them not. From there, the water gets pumped up these clear lines up into the fish tank. I've got a little heater over there. I've got the water coming in. I have an air bubbler down there at the bottom just to help with the oxygen. But as the water pours into the sump tank, that water splashing helps add oxygen to the water. From there, everything is gravity fed. So this is the fish tank. It's a 55-gallon drum. One of those plastic food grade. I had to clean it real good and everything. And this system here has been working, I guess, about 4 months now. So out of the back, it just basically the water comes in. I'm sorry, let me explain it better. Water comes in. The little plastic tube there, right between the heater and the water coming in, is just an overflow port to where if the water comes in faster than it goes out, it can come down that black tube, that bulkhead fitting down that black tube, and go back down to the sump tank. So just like a safety thing, just in case that it fills up too fast. Your pump, you don't quite have it set right, or what have you, and it's pumping too much water in, and you've got to, worry about the water spilling over the sides. You don't. Make sure that you put this fitting in. It is so very important, because if you buy a, say, heck, I need this size pump, but I'm gonna go big, and you put that pump in, and it's just pumping so much water that you just can't feed all your beds. It is a safety thing. It will make sure that it doesn't overflow or wash your fish out of the side or anything else, and it'll allow that water to just go right back down where the pump came from, and it would be the best thing to do. Out of the fish tank, on the back side here, we got another bulkhead fitting. It's hard to see. And then I've got a flexible fitting, which is a rubber. And that rubber fitting there allows me to not have to be perfectly flat, because if you look at the barrel, it's got a little bit of a curve at the top. And I wanted to try to maximize the most amount of my fish tank as I could. So the fitting itself actually comes up at a little bit of an angle, but that rubber hose fitting there, it's all food grade, water safe, and everything else. That allowed me to connect all of my fill pipes, which one of them's down there, and further down and further down. And like I said, this is kind of how the system works. So the water from the fish tank comes down into all of these media beds, and these media beds are filled up. and then they are drained. I don't have to do anything to fill them up or drain them. So if I open this guy here up, all this center block is just to keep anything from getting inside, and also so that nobody comes up and messes with anything. But it's a center block I broke in half. Just use it kind of as a weight, and to keep stuff from going down into the filter. So this is what they call a bell siphon. The outside PVC is a 6-inch PVC pipe. The inside, this guy here, which that one was siphoning, I had to pull a little bit, is a 3-inch. Okay. And what I did is I put it on the saw, and I cut little slits in it. So what happens in this siphoning system is that the water will fill up to this level, up to the very top of the standpipe. And I believe I've got I think it's a 3/4 inch standpipe, and then I've got this added piece on the end which opens up that 3/4 to maybe about 1.25 inches, just to open it up to where once that water starts cascading over the top, it creates that vapor lock and allows it to siphon. So this filling of the bed and then draining, I don't have to do anything. It's not a electrical tool or component or some kind of pump or anything else. This guy here, this little bell siphon, it's just a PVC pipe. I made sure the end was on good. I used no glue. This is 100% organic, so I didn't use any kind of glue or anything else. I just made sure it was on there good and tight. I cut some slits, and to go back to it just a little bit, if I can get it to sit there for a second. Well, I'm gonna set it over here. Alright, so with these slits, the water fills up all the way up to the top of this guy, this standpipe. It fills up, and once it fills up, with this being an airtight seal or watertight seal, it creates that siphon and it drains the entire system. Now it's going to drain it all the way down until it starts sucking air. Once it starts getting air bubbles and starts sucking air in that siphon, okay, it will break the siphon. So this distance here is as low as the water will ever get in this grow bed. You could do little notches at the bottom or cut out like a little chunk in the bottom if you needed it to drain down further. This was all an experiment. It has been working. It's been working great. This guy here, as you can see, I cut slits in it as well. Some people will drill holes. I did my research, and I said, no, drilling holes is not the way to go, because all of these little nitrogen clay pebbles, all of these guys, okay, they'll go and they'll plug up those holes. It just, the way it works, they'll get sucked into that hole and they'll plug it up. But with it being a slit, a saw cut groove, it will it'll allow the water to go through no problem, and none of those balls get in the way. So that's basically how nitrogen. There's a little bit of a root there. You know, there's maybe a couple of roots, not too many, but there's no work or maintenance. This guy, it just sits there. It just sits on top. It can be spun around. It doesn't matter. As it fills up, once it gets to that level, it'll just automatically without you doing any work, drain that bed out. So I'm gonna put that guy back on there just for next go around. The other system that I have, because I've kind of explained this is what they call an ebb and flow, or a fill and drain system, and it's identical all the way down. The water comes in continuously. Once it reaches that level, it'll create a airlock and siphon, and all that water goes back down to the sump tank, and from the sump tank it goes right back into the fish tank, and it's just a repetitive cycle. I don't have to worry about weeding my garden. I don't have to worry about watering my garden. I have to deal with feeding the fish, making sure that my pH levels and everything are good, which I did quite a bit of at the first go, at the first start of everything. And everything's kind of normalized out. It's kind of like found its balance naturally. So I haven't had to do really almost any work other than taking care of the plants, you know, trimming off and picking fruit and vegetables. You know, I mean, heck, that's the way you want it, right? You don't have to like mess with weeding. You don't have to like mess with bugs. I've never had any aphids at all. There's plants in here that are probably not accustomed to it. There's, you know, the succulent there on the corner. I had a basil in the back, and these guys thrive. They seem to grow about twice as fast as our dirt garden. So that is an ebb and flow main system. The next system is what they call a deep water culture, and that's this guy here. So same simple basic setup. There's a sump tank. This is the fish tank. I'll go around and we'll see the fish. Yeah, a bunch of little guys. There's one fairly big feller down there. And then you have these floating rafts, okay? This is styrofoam is all it is. I think I got 1 inch thick styrofoam. I cut them into pieces. I cut out the holes to fit either a 2-inch grow grip or a 2-inch net cup. So if you decide to get into this floating raft system, you know, figure out what it is you want to use. Sometimes the grow grips are better, and sometimes the net cups are better, but both are very inexpensive. I didn't spend much at all. I got like 200 of the grow grips, fairly cheap, and these net cups aren't but like, I think like 20 or 30 cents a piece. I mean, you get a whole bunch of them for fairly cheap. So, you know, depending on what you're growing, on how you're growing. This down here is lettuce. We've got some Swiss chard in this area here. Then we've got the kale, you know, nice purple, beautiful kale. And we got some arugula down there. We're just trying to experiment and figure out what works. This guy here, I just recently I got it given to me, and this is going to be a swirl filter to take out most of the solids. The reason why I needed this guy is because right now this system, identical to the other, sump tank, the water gets pumped up in to the fish tank, okay, overflow just in case, goes right back down, and the water comes out directly, gravity feed, directly down into the grow area. Well, the other system on the other side has all those clay pebbles, which act as a biological filter, an extra filter, to help filter out the solids of the fish food and the fish poo and all that kind of stuff. Well, this one has nothing to filter it. I did get this little overflow filter. It seemed to help, but it is nowhere near enough. So when it comes to the fish solids, it's kind of, the idea is you have water and there's solids in the water, and the solids contaminate the water, right? But the solids themselves you want to remove. Now the contamination of the water is still good. That's still good because the bacteria will break them down from the ammonia to a nitrate to nitrite, and the plants will do well. This system is not a 1,000,000%, 100%. It's not running perfect. A part of the reason why is because of the solids. And another part of the reason why is because I built this thing about 3 months ago. And I'm growing stuff and I've got produce. And I mean, things are going great. It's going awesome. But it's not as good as I could make it. So by putting this radial flow swirl filter guy, picking it up, having the water come out of the fish tank to it, and then from it down into the grow beds is going to make a big difference. I also got to add a little bit of additional heating. It is December here in Texas, and it's pretty cold. I think it's about 32 outside, so it's pretty cold. I did want to show you underneath these rafts are nothing but water. Okay, so let me see if I can get in here. So this is the bottom side, and as you see the roots just grow in water. That's it. There's some air bubblers down there and everything. You know, some plants have part of your roots. If I'm able to, I don't know if I'm able to do it one-handed. This here lettuce, okay, if you look, root system is crazy. Good white roots. There's no rotting. They're doing great. So the floating raft style, or what they call a deep water culture, I really think it's the way to go. The bed itself cost a little bit of money when it comes to the wood. The plumbing, as you can see, I only got one return line and the plumbing on the other end, whereas this one over here I've got 6 lines going back. So the plumbing was cheaper on this side. The wood was a little bit more expensive, but the styrofoam rafts and the net cups compared to this nitrogen was a world difference in price. This nitrogen is very expensive. It's probably, I couldn't even, maybe $300 to fill up these 6 beds, maybe more. I couldn't even tell you. So it's very expensive. I've also got this power strip, run some electrical. I did have cords everywhere. I've actually run all of my electrical stuff where it was appropriate. And in hindsight, I was talking with a buddy of mine, you know, explaining to him how this system works. And I said, yeah, man, it was ridiculous. I just spent way too much money on extension cords. I had like extension cords everywhere, plugged into this, plugged into that. And after we talked, I kind of thought about it. And I was like, well, it was actually a good thing that I did it that way. Because down here, I've got 2 sets of plugs. I don't have any over there. I've got one plug there, and you're like, well, why does this matter? Same on the other end. It's like I've got two plugs there and two plugs back there. Well, by running extension cords, it kind of helped me figure out where I needed how many plugs. So yeah, I was kind of, one of my previous videos, I kind of really shot down the whole extension cord thing, but it really helped me to understand where I needed plugs to be and how many plugs that I needed at each space. On the ceiling side, you know, the same thing on how many lights I was going to run. I was running extension cords, and I had to kind of work at it as I went, because I'm new to this. You know, this guy here's not that old, like 3 months old. This guy's here's a little over 4 months, and just before that, I was doing hydroponics with the plants and everything. And so I've only got maybe 5 months or a little over 5 months in this. And I've learned tons. Making mistakes and learning from those mistakes sometimes help you out and make you do it better than to watch a video and do it exactly like somebody else. So I'd like for you guys, you know, y'all build your system how you want to. This system works. It works great. Hindsight, changing things. I don't think I would change anything on the actual systems other than the filter there for this system. This guy over here is just absolutely going great. I don't think I would have changed anything at all, except for maybe I've got like 2 little pumps down there. I may have gotten 1 big pump and then cut it back for my flow ratio to get my flow right. This guy here just grows like crazy. I've got to do more trimming and taking fruit off. You know, all these tomatoes. I don't know if you can see, I got tons of green tomatoes. I just pulled a whole bunch of them. And it's still flowering here in Texas in December at 30 degrees outside. So, you know, this one here is almost zero maintenance. This guy here is really and truly zero maintenance. So anyways, that's it here from CNS Organics. And please like, share, talk to your friends if you're interested. This spring, probably around March, I will do some courses on what I've learned and how for you to do it yourself, and the resources to go and find what you need and everything else. So signing off here from Texas. Thanks guys, love y'all.